Jai Baba.
Jai Baba, everyone. Welcome to Poetry Night. Diana and I will be your hosts for the evening, and we are in for a real treat because Irwin Luck is here, and he's going to read his inspiring poetry. So, without further ado, here's Irwin.
You know, she introduced me exactly like she said she would. So now I know I can say something. Anyhow,
here's Irwin.
That's right. Anyhow, the thing that I liked and what everybody seems to like the most about Mayor Baba is his great love. And he touches the people, he touches hearts. That's what he does. That's his job, to touch a heart. And boy, can he do it. And then he also gives us the understanding that we're not living the kind of life that we would be living once we join him in the higher states of consciousness that he is. Anyhow, I'm going to read a few of my poems. A lot of it will just tell you what it is that Baba's own experiences and where we're going with it. So now the first one really has to do a lot with love, and it's a love story. It is said everyone has a soulmate, the perfect counterpart to yourself. Majnu loved Lila more than he loved himself or his possessions. Majnu was so in love with her. But as the fates would have it, they got separated. Boy, she was abducted, but he knew not where. Who took her? Why was she taken? Who was he to look for the love of his life? Have you seen my Lila? I don't want to live without her. I must find her. The days turned into weeks, months, and years. Still, he would ask everyone he would meet. She must be someplace. The pain of his separation was too much. It drove him to desperation. Look how the Lord of Love works when he wants someone. Desperation does it every time. So the great Lord, seeing how ripe the soul is, who is tearing his heart out for love, sends a messenger to him. Sir, there is a man who can help you. His heart is very big. Go to him. He knows all about love. He will help you find who you seek. With these words, hope poured into him. Nothing would stop him from seeing this man. But does he know where the love of my life is? I can tell you this. You never know what the Lord of Love will do when he wants you. He rules the law of the lawless infinite. So he went and was told how you are. So he went, and then he was told, now you are drawn to me. It is the love of your life you want. It is said the great Lord, in one timeless moment, made him one with the heart of everyone. Oh, Lila, I see you in everyone. You are everywhere. You are forever the love of my life.
Jai Baba, Jai Baba.
This is very important because we all have what you might say is a perfect counterpart to ourselves. And when that person is met, it's horrible for any form of separation to occur. It tears your heart out. So that's what this was all about. This is actually an old story, Majnu and Lila, but I framed it in a way so that you can hear what happened at the end when he met the Lord of Love, the God-realized person, the master, and he showed him what The love that was everywhere in everything. And it was in his Lila, in all beings, the same one. And he found the love of his life. And we will experience that. You see, the point of this story is that this is where Baba brings you to his experience. That's why he can love everyone. You're all the love of his life. And that's who we are until we can personally realize it ourselves. And that's the whole point too. So for us to realize the same thing he does, and then we're in his consciousness. Okay, if anybody has a question, if anybody wants to say anything like that to me about anything that I'm reading, don't hesitate. You're hesitating, but that's okay. I'll read you another one. This is different, totally different. This is called Mayor Baba, the Family Man. Can you hear me? Because this thing went off. I don't know what happened to it. Are you able to hear me at all?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Okay, you're back. Okay, everything went back. Just a moment here. Let me just give you this here. See, computers. They're good for something. Okay. Mayor Baba, the Family Man. How can a God man be a family man? God, did you say? Isn't he almighty and the ruler of universes? The eternal one who knows not death? Family man, did you say? What family? If you want to know about the God man, then don't miss the man part of the God man. Day and night, people are praying to him for every want a person has that needs fulfillment. Give me a house, give me a job, give me a soulmate. Give me, and give me. There is no stopping this. He hears this all the time. Isn't there someone out there who wants me for myself and not what I can give them? Now, just put yourself in the mighty Lord's place. You can do anything. Wouldn't you want some love that doesn't ask for favors? Someone who would care for you, even if you had no powers. Someone who would love you for yourself, even if you were just an ordinary man who dies at the end of your life. Now you can understand the man part of the God man. He can also be called the family man. Why? Because families are like that. In his case, as the elder of his family, there is a difference. We see ourselves as separate from everyone, while he sees himself as one with everyone. Putting that aside, if you can, he really wants to give you love and receive your love. He wants to be loved, not just for what he can give you, like any family member. You may wonder, how do I have the daring to speak of the God man like this? Well, here is my secret. I was with him when he came on a visit to our planet. He asked everyone in the room if anyone had any question. 3 times he asked. No one raised their hand. Then he turned to me and asked, Irwin, do you have a question? My mind scrambled to ask the one question that could answer all questions. Try as I might, I could not think of the question. The pause was a long one. The room was still. Lord Meher Baba was patient. Finally, I remembered what I had read, that Meher Baba had stated, the one who asks for my love will be the chosen one. Now I broke my silence and asked, can I have all your love? He picked up a jar from the table by his chair. He gestured, you are in this jar, but there is a lid on it. Remove the lid. and the ocean I am will pour in, and you will experience my love. You may also ask how I felt when I first met him. I felt like a long-lost son that had one day come home. I used to think I was a stranger before I met him. Little did I know, I was part of his family all along. We are his family and always have been, no matter where our paths have taken us. Lovingly, Irwin.
That's a beauty. It's really wonderful.
Yeah, I really like that one too. Irwin, I'm curious, when did you start writing these poems? Was it right after meeting Baba, or was it a few years?
Well, I'll tell you, I started writing poems that were very personal to Baba at the time when I was meeting him. And these poems not only were very loving poems to him, but because I meant every word I was saying, I was doing this was personal to Mayor Baba himself, but I also wanted him to show me the real thing, the state of godhood that he enjoys. You see, because I'm reading some of my poems here. You're going to hear some of this in it, of what happened at that time. But just to answer your question, I didn't start writing for everyone until 2010. That's when I started writing, and I became very prolific with it. I wrote 3 books, and I'm almost finished with a 4th one of just poems. There's 50 poems in a book. So that was what I did. And then I also wrote a book about my own life and experience with him. So that was another thing. And you see, I'm very much in touch with how people feel, because we all feel pretty much the same. You know, we come to him and we have basically the same feelings. We want him to show us what the real thing is, while at the same time helping us with our everyday life. So he does both things. And he's understanding us very well. Listen, someone who's in the mind of everyone understands everyone very well. Not like us. We're just lucky if we understand what's in our own mind, much less others. So there it is with that. I'm going to read this one. It's called The Protector. Now, unless somebody has something else they want to add or say about what was said so far, then please do. Otherwise, I'll go on to this.
It looks like you're going on.
What did you say?
I think you're going on.
Okay, I'll go on. This is called The Protector. Everyone needs protection. Bad things can happen. The protector is on the lookout for those who call upon him. He can protect anyone from anything. Once he enters the picture, you are safe. The world is as stable as can be for a planet that spins around a sun. Danger from the forces of nature or from man-made causes is always present. So I say it's a good thing that there is the protector. Here is what happened to my sweet Judy. She was just a teenager. It was night. The local mugger saw her and decided to do his dastardly work on her. He wanted to also take every advantage of her body. He was strong. She was weak, so he thought. As soon as she saw him and his evil intentions, she called out to the protector. Suddenly, all the windows on the block began to open. So many people peered out, as she screamed the protector's name. The thief was shocked and ran away. The protector saved the thief from doing his badness and saved Judy from any harm. This really happened. Just ask her. I had a black car. It was night. The car is barreling along at high speed. Suddenly, the car steering stopped working. I hit the brakes. No brakes. The car is out of control. My Judy and myself are in the car. Both of us started to call out the protector's name. My car breaks through the guardrail into the oncoming lanes of traffic. It comes to a dead stop. A car in the distance is racing toward us. It appears he does not see us. It looks like he will crash into us. Just as he is about to hit us, as we are calling out the protector's name, something incredible happened. Like an invisible hand in front of our car, the onrushing car swerves around us and races off as if he never saw us. Now a van comes from behind and parks in front of us with big headlights, so all oncoming cars can see us. We are safe. The protector is very busy. Sometimes he will even help those who do not call him. But in my opinion, calling is better. One last mention. I did not make this up. The protector is real. He made a prayer for us so we can know about him, and we could call upon him for help in any crisis. He began his prayer by saying, I am the preserver and protector of all. Of course, the protector is here to not only protect us from what we can see, but more so to advance us to what we do not see. Can a man see his own soul? Can a man get to it and enjoy his unlimited self? What keeps us from that? The protector will save us. He made it simple. Just take my name at the time you breathe your last, and you will come to me. How else will you enjoy the unlimited bliss, knowledge, and power of your real existence? Oh, Meher Baba, your name can do all this. In his great and mighty love, Irwin Luck. It really happened like that. Everything that was written there. That's how I was able to write it, because it was what happened.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Irwin. Jay Bob.
I tried to do it in as poetic a manner as possible. When you look at it, you'll see it like that. That's the protector. And anybody can do that. You know, Baba said that if any crisis, not even just when your last breath to say his name, not just then, you can do this in any crisis, and it will, and then he can help, you see, and his help, you can't beat it. All right, you want me to go on?
I just want to add something relating to what you read, Irwin.
Yes.
Protector, and it's exactly the same way you explained about the car hitting the guardrail and all that stuff. That same thing happened to us, and my son, and lo and behold, I was sleeping at the wheel, and the car went all the lanes across, hit the guardrail, and turned around by itself all the way, and then parked itself on the shoulder. so safely. And during this time, my son, who was in the car, he suddenly, I heard him take Baba's name. He said, Baba, Baba, Baba. And then I took I said, oh, I should be saying the same thing too. And we were all safe, and the car was totaled. And it's so true what you said. He is the protector. So beautiful.
Well, that also happened. The car that we were in was totaled. Finally, a tow truck came to tow it away. We were not touched at all. We went smashing through the guardrail. The car actually didn't stop until it was into the oncoming lane of traffic. And this was at night, and it was a black car. So no car could even see us that are coming the other way. So this other car probably never saw us because we were in a black car and it was night, and our headlights were also out. There were no headlights. So so that's how you die. You see, you there's no there's no way you can get around a good death, except by, at that time, we said Baba's name, and then whatever happens, happens. You get liberated if you're out of the body, if you get killed, or you live through it and drive another day. So either way, it's a win-win situation.
Thank you. Beautiful. Wow, love the poetry there. Thank you.
You're welcome. And if there's anything else we can do, good. And you can do too, because taking his name is what he said to do. He said to do that. All right. Here's another one. It's titled, What is the Purpose of Life? Dear Mayor Baba lovers and everyone else who wonder what life's purpose is, I got this letter, and here is my answer to what is the purpose of life. This was, by the way, a letter I received that went on. I'm not reading the letter that came because it'll be a bit too long. But anyhow, here was my reply, but you'll get the picture. Your questions are not complicated. What is the purpose of your life? Mayor Baba explained there is only one self, all else is illusion. He says we are living in a dream that looks real. He comes as the awakener to wake us up from this dream. No one can know it is a dream while they are absorbed by it. So we live our everyday life in imagination, thinking it is real. The purpose of being born and living your life is to gain realization of your real self. Only the dreamer is real, not the dream. To accomplish this, you make contact with the awakener. He says to love him above all else, so you can stick to him. This is your salvation from the mind and all its imaginations you are caught in. He tells us to take his name till you awaken, because the power is in his name. In any case, you take his name. Like he told Fred Winterfeld in New York when Baba visited his home, Fred asked Baba where he should go when the disaster comes. Baba said, no place will be safe. Your safety will be in taking my name. Mayor Baba made a big point many times to say he was not the body. You have to see me as I really am. You are doing the right thing by talking to him. He can hear and respond. The mental world contains the minds of all beings. So he hears whatever you say. He does not have to be in the body for that. You are occupying a biological machine you call your body. This machine, like all machines, when it stops working, you have to leave it. If there is still more for you to do, you will have to get born into another one. to complete what was unfinished the last time. This is an old system everyone has to go through. Love is the grease that keeps all this going. Beauty and love go hand in hand. Your true self is Baba and is glorious when you see it. This happiness is the purpose of life, to experience it. Baba is there to help you get there. Then you and Baba are one, not two. You are fortunate to know this. You are on your way to the highest where he is. In his mighty love, Irwin Luck. That's the true story. That's the way it works. It's an old system. Baba designed this system ages ago, probably. You know, they say the earth is 4.5 billion years old. To him, that's nothing, because he's eternal. There's no beginning, there is no end to the now. And he lives in the now. That's why his time is different. You know, he tells you things, and then you want to know when it's going to be. And he tells you because he's living in the now, so everything is happening in the way that he sees it. Now has no beginning and no end, unlike past and future of what you remember. Memory is the memory of the past. The future, you can anticipate and imagine the future. That's imagination also. So you live in imagination, whether it's before or after, past or present. But every moment is now. And that's how he operates. So when you say the earth is 4.5 billion years old, to him it's just a moment. For us, it's like 4.5 billion years, you know, because we live in what we feel is time. But for him, everything is happening. And also, he's not a prophet that predicts the future. They wondered if Baba would tell them what will happen in the future. Baba is not a prophet, because Baba makes the future. He don't have to predict anything. He knows the future because he makes it. It's a simple thing. When he was in Italy, he went to the cave of St. Francis. And in St. Francis's cave, there was when he came out, his disciples asked, well, what happened when he was in there? And he said that there was a meeting of the masters, and the course of the world for the next 2,000 years has been set. So he makes the future. There's no needing to predict anything. Others can try to predict, but not him. He doesn't predict, because that's the difference between an avatar and a prophet, you know, or somebody that's psychic, trying to do that. Now, I can go on with another one. Can you hear me? Are you able to hear? All right?
Yes, we can hear
gotcha.
you. Yep.
Very
Irwin,
well.
Okay.
Irwin, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Irwin. So if you're going through pain in our biological body that we have to be in because the
Pain hurts.
biological unit, if we're going through pain, even though it's the now could be pretty difficult. So
Well, you go through pain in the now. So the now doesn't change. Everything is happening right now. But at the same time, if your question is, why do we experience pain? Is that what you're getting
and how
to?
to, not just why, but also how do we manage that? You know, because it can feel like an eternity when you're going through something like that.
Yeah.
Body's breaking down.
You know, the mind does work under certain laws, and these laws of cause and effect, or whatever the circumstance of the mind is, you can step out of sync with it. Maybe you do certain deeds that have hurt others. There is a law of justice that states that whatever you do, you will have to experience it also. So that's why they say to do good things, because at least while you're in the imaginary world, you can receive good things as a result of what you've done. But anyhow, apart from that, Baba is not really too concerned whether you're a good guy or a bad guy, because it's up to him to wash away all the impressions of the mind. He has to get you out of the mind altogether. So anything you do within the mind is just another effort on your own part, where you can either enjoy or suffer. So that happens. But you see, the mind itself played a very important part in our existence. It was the means by which we evolved consciousness, because you need consciousness if you're ever going to get to realize your infinite self, yourself as being infinite and not limited. So if you are going to experience that, you need consciousness, and as a human being, you have evolved a full consciousness. You cannot take a human form without a full consciousness. Anything else or subhuman would put you in a lesser form of an animal of whatever degree of evolution of consciousness it's in. But once it evolves the full consciousness, then you're eligible for a human form. It's not whether you're a good guy or a bad guy that you take a human form. It's your development of consciousness, because in the spiritual world, you have to experience your true self. And for that, you need a full consciousness, you see. And the human form is what's used for that. Now, I'm going to read something here, because I think I even say it in this, in this particular one that I picked out here. Let me see which this is. Well, this one is titled, "Who is Running the Show?" You want to know who's running the show? Okay. And how does you go about running the show, by the way? All right. Let's see what this says. Should I continue? Is it all right? Can you still hear me?
We can hear you, Irwin.
Yeah,
Thank
okay.
you.
Okay, because the screen went off, that's why. Guess what? Who is running the show is the title. Guess what? It's all about the mind. Whoever runs the mind will run the show. Great leaders, good and bad, have come and gone. Napoleon, Genghis Khan, and Alexander the Great, as he was called, who it is said was the only one to have conquered the entire known world. Let's not forget the greatest rascal of them all, our arch villain, Adolf Hitler. When it came to murder, pain, and torture, he beat them all. But still, there are some heavyweights in our history books who were good runner-ups in their time. They were not short on lust, greed, anger, fear, revenge, and other pain-making qualities. It seems no age is without the horror guys, or even the good guys. Our own age is no exception. So along comes the avatar. You think the all-seeing one doesn't see this? What is he going to do about it? He won't destroy it. He never has. He will use it like he always has. So he tells us things from the God state of consciousness that he is in as to why things are the way they are, and what his mission is to relieve mankind of the predicaments we find ourselves in. First, he says, you are not the body you identify yourself with. You are inhabiting a very perishable instrument you call the body. Death does not exist because you are eternal. Body dies, but not you. You are not the mind either, which contains all the thoughts and feelings that you ever had or will ever have. So what are you? Why can't you see yourself that is behind the mind and the body? Now, if you ever asked this and did not get a satisfactory answer, then you come to the right place. This is where the avatar comes in. He tells us it is time for us to move on. He knows how to do it, to take us from where we are to where we should be. So where is that? If you listen to him, he explained, your true state of experience is the God state of consciousness latent in yourself. This is the goal of life, to experience the fullness of what you are. And what is that, I may ask? So he tells us, you are infinite bliss, the source of all happiness, unlimited knowledge of everything, the absolute power behind all energies, and the divine music of your being that harmonizes all life. There is much more, but this is enough for now. Obviously, you do not experience this. So you go to someone who does to help you get there. Oh, yes. So I don't forget to tell you, he also explained there is only one self in existence that is behind the minds and bodies of all beings. I bet no one told you that before. The universe, with all its galaxies containing innumerable suns and planets, black holes, and all other kinds of matter and energies, including space itself, is all a fabrication and imagination in the mind. This is what he sees it being in the God state of consciousness he enjoys. Now his mission is to bring us up to it. So what about the news on the TV, and how does that fit into this? It fits all right, but now that you know why you are here and what you have to do about it, you won't be scared of what your TV says. According to Avatar Mayor Baba, the one self that is behind the minds of everyone runs the show that you see with your senses. He holds the strings to everyone's mind. That is why he says no one is to blame. He has one purpose, which has nothing to do with politics of the day. That is to make you see just how great and divine you are. Like he said, even if the worst scoundrel stood before me, I could make him realize God in less time than the flash of a second. In his loving service, Irwin Luck. Now you know who's running the show and and you don't have to be afraid of anything.
That's a great one. I like that one a lot.
Good. You know, he tells us things that we would never otherwise hear. In this Advent, Baba has revealed things that I never read in previous Advents, that he said it like this. For instance, that there's one self that is the self of everyone. I've always looked at people, you know, the many selves, you know, many different people. But he's saying that behind the body and mind, you know, because he's going deeper here, behind your body, the bodies and minds of everybody, there is one self experiencing what each mind and body is doing. And that's why he can be in touch with everyone, because he's the master of the mind also. You see, the thing about the universe is that we're told that the Earth, it would take over 1 million Earth-sized planets just to occupy the space of our sun. Can you imagine? This is a big planet, and we are like little people in specks on top of the surface of the planet. And he's saying the whole planet is like a dot in the sun. And that, as if that's not enough, then what about all the other planets in our solar system? We are understanding now that all these planets are part of the galaxy, and this whole solar system is a mere speck in the many billions, trillions maybe, of worlds and, and stars and that are each a sun with other planets surrounding it, that our solar system is just one of the, it's like a little speck within the galaxy. It's such a tiny speck you wouldn't even see it if you had to look for something like that, considering the size of everything else. And as if that's not enough, you see, this is never enough. There's always more space out there. How about all these galaxies with trillions of stars and suns and planets being just a mere speck in the universe, because they spot billions and trillions of stars and suns. There's a reason why I'm saying all this. And then Baba would tell us that there are many universes, so many, he would refer to, so many universes. Scientists are still trying to understand if there's even what they call multiverses. So the reason I mention this is because when you experience the God state, which Baba wants you to experience, you will see that there's all these universes and everything are just a mere speck in your infinite being. And he said that. It's just a mere speck in my infinite being. Because when you speak infinite, there's no end. There's no limit to that. So we are destined for something that we can't even imagine. And Baba said it's all love. It's all bliss, especially the bliss part. He once described what all the bliss was. And he said, you don't have any idea what I'm talking about. This is what Baba told us. He says, you have no idea. You don't experience any bliss. So how can you know what bliss is? But bliss is the source of all happinesses. So that's what was said. My screen is now going off, and it says Mahmoud's iPhone. So somebody must have just joined us. Are you still able to hear me?
We sure can.
Okay, I just had to see the screen. All right, well, I picked out some poems, which this was the most recent one. I'm just waiting to hear somebody say something now. But if you
I
don't,
want to, Irwin, J. Bob, it's Rosalie. I want to ask you, you wrote that song that time. Was it called The Journey?
Yep.
Yeah. Now, I mean, Bob inspires everything, but did he ask you to write a song, or have you written other songs? It was a beautiful song.
Well, I'll tell you how that happened.
Yeah.
My father was, you see, I was driving a cab at the time. So in New York, this was many years back. And my father wrote to Baba saying that I had more talent to do things than to drive a taxi. And he was all upset about it. So Baba just wrote back to me, and he said he would like for me to put to music all of the lyrics that Francis Brabazon wrote in the book, Let Us the People Sing. Francis had written lyrics to a set of songs, and the book contained the lyrics that he did, and The Journey was one of them. So when Baba said that I should put music to all those lyrics, there were 25, and The Journey was one of them that I did. I put the music, and Francis Brabazon had the words, he wrote the words. So that's how that came about. And then Baba wanted me to send the manuscripts to him after I was finished writing them, which I did. And later, there was a recording made. I forget if it was Bob Brown or Jim Meyer, but one of them, when they did one of their albums, they also put it in there. And then I was singing it. Baba liked for me to sing, so I was singing it also. And my brother Edward and I would do that. But it became somewhat popular amongst the Baba family. That's the story. It's a nice story. I only know nice stories.
What about the other ones?
The others?
Yeah.
There was one other. Yeah, there was one other that was also recorded, but the others beyond that, they were not recorded. Now, someday, after I'm dead and gone, they'll probably come along. But it'll be too late for me to hear it. I'll have to come back then. And I don't
Irwin,
know if I'm going to be doing that.
I'd
What?
like to piggyback on that question. Did Baba ever ask you to write poetry,
No,
to write poems?
no. This was a spontaneous thing. I was writing poetry to Bob himself.
Yeah.
And it was very personal, not like what you're hearing now. It was very personal, and Baba really liked it. You know, he liked it, and I got many letters and telegrams, cables, that is, from him over a 10-year period when we weren't actually visiting, where he was directing and guiding everything in our life. And I told Baba one time in one of my letters, I said, anytime you have something that you'd like to advise us to do, let us know. Because you see, one of the things that Baba wanted from his lovers, or anybody that came to him, that if he did say something to them to help them or direct them, and they should do it. If they don't do it, then it didn't turn out well for them. So, but he also liked if you expressed love to him. He liked that very much. But first off, you had to do what he says. After that, if you do that, then the love part he was very happy about.
So one question here. I'm not clear. Were these poems sent to Baba? The ones that you had written?
What?
Were they sent to Baba, these poems?
Yeah. Well, at the time when I was writing to him, yes, you know, until he dropped his body. Then after he dropped his body, I didn't even know what I'd be doing. But then when I was in India, it came about that I realized that I should go out and film all the people that had so many great tales to tell about their experiences with Baba. And that was done. And that became a monumental documentation, which took some years to do. And people can watch it now. They put up a lot of them on the YouTube, I think. But it's available, and it'll be available for posterity for all time, you know. But I didn't know at the time, you know, when he dropped his body, everything was centered around Baba. I didn't know what I'd be doing anymore, that I would have any interest in. But then that happened. I felt like a train on a track. You know, Baba lays down a track and you just move along that track. You don't go to the left or the right. You just have only one way you can go, and that's on the track. And that's how I felt, you know, that he had set everything up for what my life was to be. And now I'm just rolling along with it.
Irwin, I have to say something. I find that, you know, your poetry, like, is the closest thing to a stand-up comic. And I find great humor in it. And I really appreciate humor because I really feel that this is such a great advent that we're experiencing, just the tip of it so far, but that humor has a great place in it. And if you don't have a sense of humor, you're in trouble this advent. I mean, really serious trouble. So I really appreciate you just have this humorous way of saying, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
He
do.
tells
I
me the
just have
same
to
thing.
say, as someone that really appreciates humor, yeah, I say.
Well, you know, I must add something to what you're saying. Baba was very much enjoying humor and jokes, and he had a great sense of humor, you know,
yeah.
in the way that he would do things and the way at times that he would express things. But, you know, when he got serious about your advance, what he was here for, what his mission was, then he was very straightforward about it. See, I try to write about a lot of what he said about that, about his actual mission, but it's also done in a lighthearted manner.
Yeah, no, you can make your mark certainly through humor. I believe in it. Yeah. And in fact, I think it's it is a more powerful way to make your mark, because people like to laugh, you know, and you know, it's just a wonderful thing, humor. I mean, it's like a divine thing. I mean, for me, I thought I'm sure every avatar has had a great sense of humor, but this time we know about it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Baba told a lot of things, and he enjoyed. He at one time he even sent out his certain disciples to go traveling around India, all over the country, just to find the best jokes they could find, and then and they spent maybe a couple of months, a few months doing that, and then they come back and they had all these jokes. Oh boy, so many jokes. And the Mandali and Baba would just be waiting to hear them because they would have such a good time and have such good laughs about it. You know, so Baba was enjoying that very much. And Baba liked entertainment, and he liked music, and he, you know, he was a real man, you know, real God man. Yeah. Not short on the man side. Really, what he came into the human form for human beings so that we could see something and hear something, and he showed that all the attributes that humans have is known in the God state unlimited, whereas with us it's limited. So you're in for a good time if you ever get God realized.
Irwin, did you ever publish your poems prior to 2010? The person.
There are poems that I wrote to Baba, but you'll find that in the book, in my book that I wrote of my life. There's quite a few in there. And you'll see what Baba said also, and what I wrote and what Baba said, and how he was directing and guiding everything. It's a real experience, you know, to hear that and to read it, because the people have told me that have gotten the book. Boy, they never really saw anything quite so specific as the way Baba worked, you know, because I always like to look at not only what he did, but how he did it. You see, Baba knew the how. We know the what. What we know what we want to have from Baba, to experience his love and his truth. But how he does that to get it to us is something that he does. So the how has yet to come.
Also, Eddie, your brother Eddie, he was really funny too. He was, you know,
yeah, that was both of us.
Yeah, really, but so different, the humor. But he told this story about going to the dentist or something, and you know, that's a hard one to make funny, you know. And he succeeded. Yeah.
You know, the closer you get to Baba, the more things rub off. Say, hang close. You know, Baba told me to stay close. So, you know, he's an avatar, so something's got to rub off. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. My screen also went off.
Here's a
Can
weird.
you see me okay?
Yep,
We're
you're still
fine.
there. You're
Oh,
there.
there you are.
You're fine.
Now you're back. All right. All right.
Was your father funny? I mean, it didn't say he didn't seem when you speak of him, he didn't seem that humorous. But he would have had to enjoy humor to have two sons that were funny.
Well, my dad, he was an interesting man. You know, he started off where he really disliked Baba intensely
Wow.
when he first heard about him. And part of the reason, I believe, you know, I was thinking, how come he felt like that? Because he had a bakery store in New York, and there was a man called Father Divine that lived in Harlem, where he had a church, and he would have free chicken dinners on Saturday, I believe it was. Anyhow, the people that members of his church, he would call himself God, that he was God, and they would donate all kinds of money to him, whatever they had. Even if they didn't have much money, they would give it to him. So he went about dressed in ermine coats and very, you know, jewelry, a lot of jewelry on his hands, and he lived a very high style. And his entourage of family dressed in silk suits and beautiful gowns that they had. And he would be driven in a Duesenberg car. At that time, it was a high-end car called a Duesenberg. And my father would see all this when he would deliver baked goods from his bakery store to this man, Father Divine, as he was called. So he had no respect for him. He just thought he was just using religion to make his own lifestyle and ego. It was just too much. And calling himself God yet was another thing that he couldn't swallow all that. So naturally, later on, Baba comes into the picture, and two of his sons, me and Edward, all of a sudden want to go see Mayor Baba, who says he's God and lives in India. You know, this was too much for him. And when he would hear that, he just thought we were just so gullible and taken in to believe such a thing. So I told him, I said, you know, Dad, you had a bad experience, but I understand. But I also know that because there are people that would use and aren't, you know, real masters, they could say whatever they want about themselves, and others may follow them. But even though there is false masters, they're also the real ones. And you have to be able to distinguish between the two, because you don't want to lose the real one for the sake of the false ones that you got disillusioned with. Well, he didn't listen to that at all. I said it to him, but, you know, to give him a better understanding. But so what happened, he was writing to Baba very hostile, very hostile manner, that Baba should not allow us to come. And then he also scorched the earth with us too, saying what scoundrels we were and how we would cheat, lie, and connive for anything that we wanted. I mean, he went on about a whole thing. He saying everything that he could think of. And we weren't really concerned because we knew that Baba was all-knowing. And, you know, he knew this, and this is nothing new to him. There was, I mean, in the course of his life, there were all kinds of people that came to him and some were genuine seekers, others were trying to make use of him, and it's such a things like that. So we knew that Baba would know how to handle this. So time was going by, and my dad was he was very difficult. And what happened was, I said to Baba, but I did this in my mind because I know he's in the mental sphere. I just directed thought to him that he should do something for my dad so that it would be undeniable to him that what Baba is. It's something so undeniable that he just couldn't deny that it wasn't so. So I asked Baba to do that, just mentally. I asked him. Now, a few days later, my dad is sitting in his living room and he's reading the newspaper. And all of a sudden, so he tells me that something, a few days later, he says, something happened, which I know is real and did happen, but I can't tell you what it is because you'd never believe it. He says this to me. So he goes on. He continues on that he absolutely knows that what he sees is a real because he's a realist. He liked to refer to himself as a realist. He was a self-made man, you might say, in the world, in a worldly sense. But so he considered himself a realist, and that whatever he said or did was correct. He wouldn't. Nobody could argue with him about once he made up his mind about something. So he was telling me over and over again that something happened, that it really did happen. And he says, I can't tell you because you won't believe it. He just going on. Finally, I said to him, listen, Dad, I've heard many things and many stories that people have experiences in their life. And I have no reason not to believe it. If they say it happened, so it happened to them. So you can just as well tell me it's not going to make any difference. So then he says, all right, I will tell you. And he tells me that this is where I was saying that he was sitting in his chair in his living room and he was reading the paper after he had come back from the office. And he feels there's a presence in the room. So he put the paper down, and what does he see? He sees Mayor Papa standing right there in front of him, wearing his white gown. That he said that he was wearing the white sadra, white gown, and he was with two disciples, and he motioned for them to sit down on the carpet. And then Baba went on to tell him, you can hear me speak because where I am now, I can speak. He told him this because he already knew that Baba was not speaking.
Yeah.
So then Baba told him, I'll come and see you 3 times, but the 3rd time will be the last. And then he went on to tell me other things too, which I can't even hardly remember everything that he said. Now, the 2nd time he did come again, and my father told me he came again. And this time he was having an argument with my brother Richard, who was getting married. And the argument was that, you see, my dad was going to pay for the wedding. But now that they had this disagreement, my father said to him that he's not going to pay anything. Now, when Baba came, so this, when he said he wasn't going to pay anything, boy, that really threw everything into upset everything. But now Baba was there and asked him what he was doing now. So he mentioned something about this wedding that he was going to do, but now Baba told him, no, you continue doing as you had planned originally. He said, you do that. Now, my father, like I say, once he makes up his mind, he don't change it. But this time he just, just said, okay, he's going to do that. And then later he told me, he said, if the rabbi had asked me to do this, I would never have done it. But because it was Baba, I did. And so with that, and there was another thing, he didn't believe in life after death. He didn't think there was any survival of the if once you die. So I asked him, I said, do you believe, what do you think? Is there life after death? And he said, I'm more inclined not to. So then I said, well, how do you explain then that Baba was able to come and be with you when he had passed away? And then he said, I'm thinking about that. Well, it takes time for us to turn around and change our views. Baba is talking about that no one is to blame, for instance, because so many of us have these political viewpoints. But Baba is saying that nobody's to blame because he is the masters pull the strings of that people see in the world leaders. They're pulling the strings of the mind, and you can't do anything that is not within your own mind. You have to follow whatever's in the mind. That's what you're going to do. So in order for them to do what they want, which their agenda is nothing political, it's to get everyone to the point where they can decide to gain God realization, to experience what they're here for. That is what he's here for. That's his mission. So they will disillusion people with the different viewpoints that in the chaos that goes on in the world. It's one of the means for disillusionment. There's another way, which is through enlightenment, but that's another story. They'll do whatever it takes to get you to where they want. And everyone is eternal ultimately. So you're living in a body for a while, but then you have to leave it when it stops working. And you take another one if you have still a lot of unfinished things to do. Until you don't need a body any longer and your attachments to the world are no longer there, then you move on into the subtle and mental realms, which are infinitely more beautiful. But Baba is not here to take us through those realms either. He wants to take you to the reality, to where he is. And he doesn't take his lovers on the spiritual path, which is the path that yogis and saints and others take their followers and give them divine experiences if they're advanced enough to do it. But they can do it. Baba doesn't do that. He takes you right to the reality because he's at the reality. See, these yogis and saints, they themselves need help to get to the point where Baba is wanting everybody to be. So he just takes you from where you are to where you should be. And that's how it works with him. And then all these desires and attachments that you have, as you associate with him, they just fall off. It's when they say you have to sacrifice your desires and everything, it's no sacrifice. They just fall off when you're in his company, in his presence. It becomes less and less important and meaningful until it doesn't mean anything anymore. And then it's gone, you see, in a very natural manner. That's the way I find it. So
did your father tell you about the last visit?
He did. But the thing is, I don't really remember much of what he said. I did a video of him also amongst the many people that we filmed. And he does talk about what happened in his life with Baba. I asked him, I said, listen, Dad, I want you to just speak out and say anything you want, just say what happened with Baba and you. Because by the time he passed away, which was now much after the time I filmed him. But by the time he passed away, he was 94 years old. And he was in a very poor condition, could barely eat or move or do things. But his mind was alert. And I asked him if he believed that Mayor Baba was God. And he said, surprisingly, this is what he said. Now, this is the end of his life. He says, now I am one of you.
Wow, wow,
So that's what he told us.
wow.
Told me that.
But tell me, you never mentioned your mother. How did she feel about this?
Well, my mother was really she was a real sweetheart.
Yeah.
She was just the opposite of my dad. She was all love. And in the beginning, when I first joined Baba, she wanted to know she wanted to know what I was doing or how I felt. So I told her something, and I sent her the 10 ways of loving God, how to love God. Baba gave 10 ways. And when she read that, she said, well, he passes my test. How do you like that? And so then she always carried a picture of him in her purse. And she would not want to tell my dad at that time because he would get upset, whatever. But so she wouldn't tell him anything. She would just, I'd come by and she would open her purse and point to it, the pictures. Baba. And then she put her finger up to her lips to be. But I'll tell you one other thing about her. Is if there's a second, I can tell you. Yeah, when she was driving the car, she would get nervous if she was driving on the highway or anything. She would get very nervous about that. So then one day she tells me that she's not nervous now. So I said, oh, good, what happened? And she said, whenever I go into the car to drive, I see Baba's face looking at me, smiling, and he's looking and smiling at me. I said, boy, that's something. I never heard this before.
Wow.
And every time she would drive in the car, she said that that's what would happen. Baba his face would appear and would be looking at her, smiling, and she'd feel secure and comfortable to drive.
Wow.
Well, then one day she tells me, she says, I didn't see Baba this time. I was in the car and I drove. I didn't see anything. He says she didn't understand how that could be. You see, for anyone else, they couldn't understand it if it was. With her, if it wasn't. So I just told her, I said, listen, mother, if you're asking me, I think that Baba just doesn't want you to take this for granted. But this is something special that he wants you to feel comfortable and happy. So he's doing this for you. And she said, oh, I think that's it. And then after that, she told me she would see Baba again. So
did she survive your father?
Huh?
Did she live longer than your father?
Well, they both passed away about the same time.
Oh, yeah.
She was 90, he was 94, but there was a 4-year difference in their age. So, yeah, it was about the same time they passed away. They were about a month or about a month apart.
Wow.
He went first and then he did. Then he passed away. Then let me see. Yeah, that was the way it happened. Yeah. There was also something that happened when my dad, before he, you see, he was taken off of life support. And because he was in such a terminal state that it was no use anymore. So they took him off of life support, which meant he only had a few days left. And during that time, during that few days, there was another man that came into the hospital room, and because there was a curtain separating that man's bed from my dad where he was laying. There was a curtain that they had in between, and this man, when he got in there, he starts talking and talking and talking out loud, and he's talking in Spanish, which I did not understand. So he's talking and talking and talking, and then Danny Bolette, which was a friend of the family, he came in, and he understood Spanish. So he said to me, he's listening to this man also. He said to me, "You know what he's saying?" What? So I said, "No, I have no idea. I don't know what he's saying." He's talking to your father, and he's telling him that everything is going to be fine, that he should not worry anymore. Everything of the family is all taken care of, that now he's free to go, and there's going to be a great welcoming for him, and he should not worry about anything. And he goes on telling all these things, in preparation of his passing. This man, he doesn't stop talking for a minute, and he's talking and talking and talking. Then when he finally, when my father finally did die, then there was a woman that came to visit the man, and I asked her, I said, the man was talking and talking so much to my father, but then now he doesn't say anything. Why is that? She says, "Oh, he's very mysterious." Many times he'll say things that are quite mysterious, and that's how he is. And then, but you know what I felt right away? I felt this was an agent.
Yeah.
An agent to help my dad cross over.
Wow.
See, because what else could it have been? He's talking Spanish, telling him that everything's going to be fine and that there's people waiting for him, and and all of this here. Wow. So that was what.
That's beautiful.
So from the beginning of his hostile nature to Baba to the end, he became a lover of Baba. That was what happened.
That's a lovely story you've told us, Irwin, and I appreciate so much this lovely time we've had together with you and your poetry. We've come past our time.
Okay, yeah.
Would you like to close with a final poem for us to hear?
Yeah, I guess I don't see why not. A poet writes poetry. Well, let me see. I have to find something here that would be just the right thing. Now, just bear with me a moment. I'll get a good one, because whatever I write is good. So whatever I'm going to. Okay. Well, this one here, I think you might like this one. It's titled, "There is a Man in My Mirror," is the title of it. Dear everybody, everyone knows the difference between your reflection and yourself. There is no chance that you could ever mix up which is you. But wait a minute. Doesn't the person in the mirror look exactly like you, copy your every move, live in a world just like yours? But still, I know who is the real and who is not. Now I am told that I have been looking in a different mirror all my life. But there was one big difference. The man in the mirror, I keep thinking, is the real me. It is said the mind is the mirror of the soul. I look in the mirror and there I am. For years, even lifetimes, they say I have been looking in my mental world mirror, thinking the man in that mirror was me. Then along comes the knower of everything. He also stands with me in front of my mirror. He says the world I see is not real. I tell him it looks real to me. Then he tells me it is just a mirror. And there are worlds of people looking into the same mirror. Everyone thinking it is real what they see. He even goes so far as to say it is he alone that is doing the looking. But in that mirror, he sees himself as many. In this mirror game, where opposites rule, no one gets out of this hypnotic absorption. The illusion of who I am is complete. It's complete. Oh. He says he is the only one. But when I look in that mirror, I cannot believe this. So what to do? Is there a way out to see myself without a mirror? There is an old saying, become desireless. Realize your true self. When you don't want anything in that mirror, the attraction is gone. Nothing there to hold you anymore. So now the real self can be seen, the one behind the many images of the mind. To say I am the real one, made of love, knowledge, existence, an ocean of bliss and power, conscious of everything, complete in every way, all because I am real. I am not the man in my mirror. Because I don't know if it's clear, but the mirror is the mind. In the mind, you see everything, but it's not real. And you are the real one, not the images you see. Okay.
Thank you so
Jai
much.
Baba.
That
Jai
was
Baba, Irwin.
Jai Baba, Mayor Baba.
Jai Baba. Thank you so much. Irwin.
Thank you so much, Irwin. Thank you. That
Welcome.
was a wonderful one to end on. Just wonderful. A good reminder.
Well, I hope it was understandable.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Very good, very good. Then
Yes.
then it's good. All right, thank you, and Jai Baba.
Thank you.
Jai Baba.
Baba.
Bye-bye.